Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. First, I just want to start off by saying thank you for all of the positive reception on the last video. I was completely blown away by the support and the excitement. On to today's video. So, we're going to leave behind the world of avocados and food, and we're going to look at a new topic. For our research this time around, some things I was just brainstorming on. So, the idea behind this brand, it's for fitness people that are into doing active stuff outside of the gym. So you're not just going to the gym to get a workout in that you kind of hate and just be quote-unquote healthy. You actually love the gym, you love being active, and you want some sort of clothing that's going to help you rep the active lifestyle outside of the gym. Some things that come up when you think about that are things like Pilates, yoga. Someone suggested military. I think that's a good idea because it's a niche that I get the feeling a lot of people aren't hitting too hard. So this would be like the military fitness crossover. Another thing that came up though is hiking. And especially as we head into the fall, it's a beautiful time of year to hike. You'll note that the background that I've used for the Etsy store banner here is a picture that I took on vacation of Arizona. So there's some hiking there. And I just think it's an interesting niche. So I think for today we'll go ahead and focus on hiking. To kick off our research session here, I'm going to put hiking fitness shirt into the search bar. It's extremely general, but we're going to start general and just sort of work our way down by... Okay, so my strategy here is to just look for any sort of phrase that strikes my interest, and I'll assume it's probably a good phrase if it's backed by a brand with a lot of reviews like this one. You can sort of assume that a big brand is probably doing good things. Alternatively, I would check and make sure that the phrase has some competition. You can also check and see that the phrase has some other stuff going on Pinterest or on Instagram, but... So we'll just scroll through here for starters and get some interesting things. I think this one is interesting. This especially has a fall vibe to me. Weekends are for hiking and mimosas. That very much feels like something somebody would buy in the fall. Weekends are for hiking and mimosas. And it's not that we'll necessarily go and create a design for this exact phrase. Maybe we will. It's more so that this is something we know the market has already vetted, right? 749 reviews. If we click on this, 65 people have favorited it. Like, that seems pretty good. So we'll take that and then we'll maybe think of some alternatives if we don't want to just design that phrase directly. So, for example... weekends are for hiking and lattes. Yeah, I don't know. Something along those lines. This is a super common one. Everything hurts and I'm dying. Probably something to stay away from. I just happen to know there's a lot of competition for something like that. I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. That's pretty interesting. I think we can definitely improve upon this design for an Etsy audience. Thinking about using fonts that are a little bit more like script fonts. A little bit lighter on the graphics, probably. So let's try that. I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. There we go. That's a good amount of results. Yeah, there's some good stuff here. This is very much more the type of design I would expect to create for something like this. So lots of script font, some arrows. Those are just very popular things for our audience. This is really interesting to me. Any sort of shirt that reaches out to a group of people is really strong because you wind up getting the whole group to buy the shirt, so you get big, like, 5 shirt sales. Hiking gang. Not really favorited by many people, but it's a big shop. Let's check and see if there's anyone else doing this sort of thing. You might modify the phrase too, so like maybe hiking gang isn't popular. Yeah, this is all the same person. This doesn't look too strong, but you could do something like hiking squad. And so you can see here there's a little bit more going on. Hike squad, road trip squad. I'm going to switch up the phrase here, or the search term, to fitness outdoors. So if we scroll down here a little bit, you see one of the shirts we found earlier. Did you work out today? It's kind of interesting. I'm outdoorsy. I like to drink wine on patios. That kind of fits with our other theme with the mimosas. I like the phrase. Certainly there's room to be unique with something like that. I'm outdoorsy. I like to drink wine. Let's take a look. Man, there's not much competition here, is there? So I think I can totally imagine a way to be unique here as well. So let's go ahead and take that phrase. Jumping into the designs, let's start with weekends are for hiking and mimosas. I think with this series of shirts, we're not going to focus too much on the visual element. That was something we did last time with creating the avocado. This time, we're just going to do sort of a typography focus. This particular phrase, weekends are for hiking and mimosas. One thing to consider is that we have three keywords that are all the same length. So it tends to be easier to design for, in my opinion. The whole design will form sort of one big rectangle. One font I found recently that I like is this font called Bimbo. There's some stuff in here that looks like it could work well. It's always good with these sort of fonts to just take a look at the graphics that the creator has included when you bought the font. It's just really good inspiration for how to lay out their artwork. So we'll start the word weekends with this font right here, which is the condensed font. So Bimbo, condensed, oops, weekends. Looks like we grabbed the wrong variation. Okay, weekends. So this is the top of our shirt temporarily. We need the word R. Probably using a script font for these transition words in between the big ones. Weekends, hiking, mimosas. For a word like R, a script font works well. It's just smaller. It doesn't take up as much space. A-R-E. So that will go here. Make it a little bigger. Okay. I'd hesitate to put weekends inside of here because I think having such a big blocky thing at the top of the shirt might not look so great. Oh, you know what? This might look... Ooh, I'm feeling the banner. Let's try this. Oops. So we're gonna have to make it a little bigger just so it has some height to it. I'm not... this might not be the right shape for a banner. Yeah, it's just not quite tall enough. There are some other options. Like, that's pretty interesting to me. That one's good. I think it would look better the other way around. Maybe at a slight angle. So that could sit like right there. The word R, maybe at a slight arc. So we're just trying to come up with something that's sort of whimsical and fun here. Ultimately, we don't want it to be too complex. My sort of anecdotal observation on Etsy is that less complex things tend to work better. Alright, so we'll plan on using a banner for the moment. Hiking. Oh man, this is hard. So hiking, maybe something that evokes more of like the woodsy type feel. So this variation, yeah, let's try that. Sands. Just want to make it a little bit bigger so it matches the weight of Weekends. Actually, I'm going to go a little bit smaller. And then put a slight curve on it to match the banner a little bit. And then, this is getting heavy, but one idea I sort of had here was that the Bimbo font has a tree. There might be something we can do with that. So weekends are, ooh, we forgot the word for. We forgot the word for. Weekends are for. Dang it! Alright, so we'll move this down. We'll make that and. Okay, so this is probably good because again, having more visual weight at the bottom of the shirt I think tends to work out better than having it at the top. And it has a script font, just doesn't fit in there as well though. I'm just trying to get the sort of white space balance between the tops and bottom of the fonts here and the tops and bottom here correct. And you can sort of play around with matching the curvature of the O and the N here, and then the A and the H. Even if it's not exactly centered, having those line up is probably more important for the overall visual of the shirt. It so happens that that's centered though, so that's nice. So weekends are for hiking and mimosas. So we went with the, I forget what this font was called. Sans? We went with the Sans font here for hiking because it kind of has that woodsy feel. For mimosas, I don't think that's as important. We'll probably go back to the just regular old font, condensed main. It's way too big. Shrink it down. Perfect. Stick that right there. This is a simple shirt. We haven't done a whole lot here, and I've sort of just used the font as it was given to us. But I think the important part is the 3 keywords in the phrase, the things you want people to see and really feel and fall in love with right away is weekends, hiking, mimosas, and those are all emphasized. R4 and are mostly to the background. And is more emphasized than R4, kind of by accident. But I think it works because you have hiking and mimosas, which are, it's weekends are for blah, right? And it's hiking and mimosas. So if this shirt gets in front of the eyes of somebody who loves hiking and mimosas, they'll love this. And I think having those two tied together with a strong visual element just makes sense. Let's start cutting out the clipping to clean this up a little bit. All I do is I create a selection around an element, expand it by 30 or 40 pixels, and then I just mask the word in question. So if we're hiking here, we'll mask out the whiteness to create a gap. There you go. Now you have a clean little spacing between things. Alright, so now we have to look at our current final design and decide whether this is something we want to keep or not. One thing that sticks out right away is that we definitely want to make this as big as possible. The bigger the design is, the easier it is for people to see and fall in love with in those search results. You know what? This is pretty decent. I'm not going to overthink it. We're just going to go forward. Not bad. Next. One thing we can play around with too, though, before we move on, is we can try coloring it. It's never quite obvious up front if a design's going to look better all white or colored. So I've just duplicated the group over here. We'll create a layer mask and just start painting colors on top of this. So obviously for trees, we're going to want something green. I don't know if you would extend that to the word hiking also. Maybe. It's not bad. Mimosas. Probably want something orangey. I think that's a little bit too dark, so we'll lighten that up. And it might be a little bit too dull as well. Maybe we'll choose something more peachy like that. Yeah. And then weekends. You know, it's okay to leave some stuff white. We might just do that. Leave weekends R4 and white. Alright, so moving on. Second design. I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. So this is referencing places people have hiked. So maybe we can explore having some sort of mountain background type thing. Anything that resembles a nature hike would probably work. Our keywords are haven't been everywhere. On my list. I know, but it's kind of a sassy-ish thing that a lot of people like. These are all kind of important. This is going to be a very wordy shirt. So usually it's good to just kind of dive in. Maybe we can, like, it's going to take you a while to lay out letters and figure out what works. One thing we can do is come back to our font thing here and just kind of explore some options. Okay, so I just got some inspiration. I love how this wooden background here with this font on it kind of looks like one of those signs that you see when you're wayfinding along a path. Like, let me see, path wayfinding sign. Yeah, like this. So imagine if there was actually a destination called Everywhere, right? So I think that's a good image to evoke. So if we can build the design around that. We'll just create this wooden background and it'll say Everywhere, and then it'll be, I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. It'll be down below. So for the words I haven't been, oh boy, maybe we can just use script again. I haven't been, you know, I hate the letter I because it has to be capitalized, which always just completely throws off the aesthetic. Okay, so I mean, you could do something like that. It's clear to me that whatever we put up here needs to be smaller than the word everywhere, which is unfortunate. It's really such a bummer that everywhere is such a long word. I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. So we might want to use a blockier font up here. Oops. Condensed main. Yeah, you know, maybe just something like this. Whatever. List needs to be a big accent word. Oh boy. Probably the script is probably a good idea. L's tend to look good with script as well. Capital L's. Just a cool letter. With script, commonly you put stuff at an angle. It looks pretty good. Yeah, I mean, that's... guys, this sucks, but I think everywhere is just too small. It's too small. Like, would it be bigger if we made it as script? Not really. What a pain in the butt. How does this font solve this problem? One thing you can do is stagger the letters like that. Let's just give that a shot. Probably the easiest way to do this, it's kind of a pain, is to just do one layer per letter. That's not bad. I think that's something that we can just roll with. And then we can reuse the sign. That's a visual element that I genuinely do like. We can just reuse it for the I haven't been part of the shirt. And this can help balance out some of the randomness by just putting a straight line right above the top. And you know what? This hits the edge of the sign a little bit. Let's make the sign a little bigger. Make the font a little bigger. I'm gonna distort the height just a little bit, take up a little more room. And so now we just need to get to list. One thing that comes to mind is list could sit over here, and then it could be like, I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. That could work. The one thing I worry about is that this is already pretty busy. So let's go ahead and... So we can probably do something that's similar to what they've done here with like a single word and then like the little floofy things off to the side. So that would look like this. Again, I'm so new to this font that it's really hard to come up with good arrangements. Once you've used a font for a while, you get really good at doing this sort of stuff. And so churning out a shirt like this becomes really easy. And that's just the advantage to finding some favorite fonts and sticking to them. That's not bad. There's no science to these little floofy things. You just kind of put them in there to fill up space. That's how I do it anyway. So now we just need the words, but it's on. I don't know if we can use script. Because again, the thing we put here, we don't want it to take up too much space. Oh, it's just so busy. Okay, so I've gone ahead and just sort of played off the height variation that's going on with everywhere, and just used some very standard font, but pushed the its up. So you kind of have that same wavy motion continuing down the shirt. The one thing that's bugging me here still, though, is that I haven't been is very heavy. The top of the shirt feels way heavier than the bottom. It's really unsatisfying. I think what we might do is put this sign thing down here, where but it's on is at, and then move the sort of lighter font, like with the squigglies, up to the top. So it sucks because it's a lot of work, but let's just knock it out real quick. And that looks good. I like this much better. So if we just create a little more spacing. Everything's a little bit tight right now. Oops, not that. Not bad, not bad. I think we'll go ahead and call it there for this one. For our third design, I'm outdoorsy. I like to drink on the patio. Hazelnut and Hepburns are a favorite of mine. Let's try that. It's just a nice, simple feeling. So, outdoorsy. You can see how nice that is. It's like a font that genuinely feels outdoorsy. So with these script fonts, especially this one, a little bit of arc is always really nice. And you'll see, like, we'll just have a tiny little I'm sitting up there to the right of the D in that empty space. It's perfect. I'm outdoorsy. So then the complement to this font, Hazelnut, is Hepburn's, which is just a nice sans serif. Actually, I guess it's a serif font, but it's just a nice thin serif font. So I'm outdoorsy, but what was it? But I drink wine on patios. But I like to. Okay, so but I like to is the transition between our keywords, outdoorsy and drink wine on patios. So we don't want to emphasize it. We just want this nice, simple font. And put some height variation in there. We'll just move these up a little bit. Kind of wavy. I'm outdoorsy, but I like to. Make it a little bigger. Okay. I think make a little more height variation. Alright. I'm outdoorsy, but I like to drink wine. Maybe we'll go back to the script. One of the powerful things with this font, or with any script, and then just sort of like thin normal font combination, is you can go from script to normal to script to normal. And that tends to create a design that looks pretty good. Just create a little more space there. Again, we have clipping issues. This is something you can resolve after the fact, just by cutting out a little space around the letters. I'm not convinced it's the best tactic ever, honestly. Sometimes it doesn't look too great for the final shirt. We'll get back to that. So, but I like to drink wine on patios. So originally I said drink wine on patios was one of the major keywords. In reality, like, I'm outdoorsy, drink wine. So if someone comes across this shirt and they both enjoy nature and wine, you know, patios, like, we're not trying to sell to someone that likes patios. That's kind of a secondary thing. The important thing here is outdoorsy and drink wine. So I think we're in the clear for this design style. So the question is, do you want to take on patios and, like, fill up all the space like this? Yeah, it's not bad. I think, though, more importantly, you want to match the font weight of But I Like To, since we're going like AB style here. This feels a little bit too small, if I'm honest, so maybe there's like an in-between that works okay. That's not bad. You just don't want it to be too obviously different than But I Like To. So to fix the But I Like To issue here, let's just separate this into separate words. And then we'll see if we can just sort of cram this stuff in here. There you go. So now instead of cutting out the letters, we just arrange that stuff in there. Which probably creates a better end product, I've learned. But I like to drink wine on patios. Yeah, so to match what we've done here with the waving the letters, we'll just do the same thing down here. I'm outdoorsy, but I like to drink wine on patios. That's beautiful. I really like the way the weights are playing around here with the going between the thicker script font and the thinner serif font. This is probably my favorite shirt of the bunch. It's simple, but it just feels good. Alright guys, there we go. I've gone ahead and laid out the 3 shirts right here for you to see what we've come up with. Honestly, I'm pretty happy. With shirt design, it is almost always the case that while I'm creating the shirt, I'm very 50-50 on whether or not I like what I'm coming up with. But looking back, I think this stuff looks great. I still maintain that I think these 2 designs on the right are probably a little bit more complex than the type of thing that I would normally suggest is great to sell on Etsy. But these would sell great on merch, I think. Assuming they have an audience, assuming we've hit that audience, but you know, maybe they'll sell on Etsy as well. And then this one on the left is, I think it nails the sort of aesthetic that works well with the Etsy audience. It's really as simple as bold script designs just work on Etsy. That's just how it goes. Yeah, what I'll do next off camera, unfortunately, you know, I can't film everything, is just continue to search for phrases in the hiking, fitness, outdoorsy, active sort of general niche. Just mock out another 20, 40 shirts. We'll probably wind up posting them all to Etsy because it's pretty cheap at 20 cents a piece. But generally the idea with this brand is to design a ton of shirts, throw them all on merch where it's super cheap and we have a ton of audience to vet our designs. And then whatever sells over there, we'll transfer to Etsy and go hard with the marketing and all that fun stuff. But for now, we'll probably just put this on Etsy. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Please, if you liked the video, click the like button, click the subscribe button if you're new, or if you want to get updates about future videos. In the meantime, you can always follow me on Instagram. I'll put the link down in the description. That'll do it. Until next time.